Who are you following? Have you ever stopped to think about that? Because up until recently, I didn't really think about that. And no, I'm not just talking about on social media. I'm talking about life. Who are you following? Hello, welcome to the channel. My name is Yugeshni. I make videos here on YouTube about faith, health, and mindset. Today I'm going to be talking about following and my experience with that. Because recently I had a bit of a light bulb moment and I wanted to share that with you today. Let's get into it. I was recently watching a lecture where this came up, where it was talking about who you are following and how it is affecting you. I've made videos before where I've talked about social media and how it can impact you, but I think this goes beyond just that. Obviously, we all know that the people that we follow on social media have an effect on us. We're being influenced by that. Even though we don't want to be influenced, a lot of us find that we are, and it might be, innocent things. A lot of times we might just be scrolling and we see, somebody using this product and we're like, oh, okay. And then we continuously see people using this product and we're like, oh, I should get that. I need that. It doesn't even matter what it is. It doesn't even matter if you need it or not, but you've already been influenced into getting it, or, whether it's a product or whether it's a certain kind of behavior or whatever it is, we are being influenced by what we see online. This is not news to anyone. This we all know. But have you ever stopped to think about who you're actually following in life outside of social media? Because I feel like us humans, we're just kind of primed to follow. There's either someone or something that we're following. And for the most part, it will be your parents. Whatever your parents say and do, especially when you're children, it's natural. And you can see that, right? You can see children copying their parents. And sometimes they're copying them doing things that the child doesn't understand, but they've seen their parents do it and that's why they're doing it. Sometimes it's good stuff, sometimes it's bad stuff. They don't know the difference, right? Because they're children. Well, guess what? Your brain is still operating in the same way. You're watching other people do these things and you're doing it too. And you may not understand it, but you're just doing it, right? And that to me was just like, oh, okay, I never stopped to think about it in that way. And I was like, okay, what are the things that I do? Let me just take one day out of my whole life. Like, what did I do? How did I behave? Was that actually influenced by somebody else? Did the decisions and the actions that I took on that day, were they pleasing to God or were they pleasing to society? And I think that's a very hard question to ask yourself. Because a lot of times we might think that we're doing things for the sake of God or we're doing things for our own selves. But in reality, we've just been doing things because we've seen other people do it and we haven't actually had intention behind it. We've made so many decisions because we saw other people make that same decision. We never really thought about it. We just acted. And I feel like we're all in that space today where we just act, we just copy, we just do, and we never ever stop to think about, do I actually want to do this? Is this actually for me? Is this actually for my Lord? Is this going to make my Lord happy? Like, is he going to be pleased with me because I did this? Is this even in line with my, with my deen? Or if you're not Muslim, is it even in line with who you are? Most of us don't stop to think about that. I think we've just become sheep. We just follow whether we realize it or not. And I think if you are a convert, you'll probably be a bit more aware of this, because as a convert, I had to question everything, right? When I came into Islam, every time I wanted to do something, I would be like, okay, but what does my religion say about this? Because I don't want to go against what Islam says. And it's literally for everything, everything that I do in life. All decisions that I make. It's like, oh, okay, I'm going to apply for this job. Hang on. Like, is this a good job for a Muslim to have? Like, will Allah be pleased with me if I was doing this job? What about this company? Like, I should look into that, right? Like, is this going to be good for my deen? Like, I need to question that. I do that with everything now. And because I've been doing that, because I am a convert, I will always be learning. I have to question everything. I got to check myself all the time to make sure that I'm doing thing that Allah will be pleased with, because I don't want to just randomly do things and then realize everything that I've been doing is not pleasing to Allah. You know, I don't want to put myself in that position. So I'm cautious. I think about everything. I'm intentional with everything for that reason. And that's been a huge wake-up call for me, because I realized that everything that's popular in society, everything that we all do, it's not necessarily bad, but it's not necessarily benefiting me. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, right now everybody's wearing these kind of clothes, and that's great and it looks great. That's cool, but I don't have to do it. Like, I don't have to follow them. Like, do I have to wear this color? Do I have to behave this way because everybody else thinks it's cool? Like, who am I really following here? It's a question that I have to ask myself all the time, because I'm human, just like everybody else. And because my brain is primed to follow, I might be following something without realizing it. So I constantly got to check myself. And you know, there are different levels of this. Sometimes we can, even me, think that we're doing the right thing, think that we're on the right path, and we've made snap decisions without really looking into things first, especially when it comes to the deen, right? And when you're a convert, like, everybody wants to tell you all this stuff about Islam and be like, you should do this and you should follow that, and this is permissible and this is not permissible. And you're just like, okay, I gotta do this, okay. And like, we don't really think about it. We just take it on face value. Biggest mistake that you can make is to just do things without knowing or understanding. And I had to learn that the hard way. But you know, it's probably a good lesson for me, because I know that I won't make that mistake again. Because there are a bunch of people who are going to tell you a bunch of things. And you know what? Not everybody has the correct information. Not even me. Like, I don't know everything, right? Like, I always have to go and check everything that I hear, everything that I learn. I need to have solid facts. Can't just be like, oh yeah, your auntie's best friend said this, so you should totally do that. I'm like, oh, that's great, thanks, that's a great suggestion. I'm gonna go look into that and find out what that's about, and do I actually need to do that? Is that actually even a thing, or is this just like culture and not actually religion? You know, that's my mentality now, as opposed to before, when I was like, oh my god, I didn't know that. I didn't know I was supposed to do that. Let me quickly go and do that. It's like, hang on, let's just take a moment to think about this, to realize who I am following, and to realize whether this information, whether this thing that I'm doing, am I following the word of God, or am I following the word of people who might not know that this is probably not religion? So I have to think about everything. I gotta check myself with everything. So why did I make this video? Because I think we all fall into this trap of following. It doesn't matter whether it's related to religion or just everyday life, whatever. All things in life, we all somehow end up just following things that we see other people doing, or that we've heard from other people, right? I think we've just become conditioned to be that way. Society definitely conditions us to be this way. And I think that it's time for us to start questioning, not so that we can be better than other people, but just so that we can know. Because at the end of the day, we are the ones who has to answer for our actions, right? Like, nobody else is going to be blamed for the things that we have said and done. And I want to make sure that, you know, I've done everything with intention, that I know what I'm doing, that I know the reason that I'm doing these things. I want to live an intentional life so that I can stand in front of Allah one day and say, yes, I know that I did this, this, and this. I did it with this intention. Maybe it didn't turn out the way that I wanted, but that was my intention. I understand. I took the time to make sure that I was trying to do this. And obviously I'm not perfect. Obviously it's never going to be that way where I'm always, you know, perfect at everything all the time. Impossible, you know. But I want to try and make sure that I know that I've done this because of me, and I want to do it because I want to please Allah, not because I want to please society. You know, I don't care about following society, but I will fall into that trap just like we all do all the time. So I constantly have to check myself, you know. I'm not immune to it either. But the reason that I made this video is because I want us to all have this wake up call. I want us to all spend a minute and think about the things that we are saying and doing in our lives every day, and whether we actually want to even do those things, or we're just doing it because everybody else is doing it. And what is our actual intention, right? Like, why are we doing this? Why are we spending so much time trying to earn that extra money to buy that fancy car? Why? Like, why are we doing that? Is it because we actually need that? Or is it because everybody else has that car and we want to have that car now too, and we haven't put two and two together in our mind, and we're just running on this hamster wheel trying to, work so hard to get all this money so we can get that fancy car. But we haven't stopped to think, hang on a minute, do I even need this car? Can I not just get a cheaper car? Do I really want to put myself in debt just so I can have this car because everybody else has this car? What decision should I actually take here? And is my Lord going to be pleased with this decision that I've made? Because I'm going to have to answer for it one day. It's time to stop and think. It's time to realize that there's no benefit in following everyone else, especially if they're doing something that's displeasing to Allah. One day we'll all have to answer for everything that we've said and done. And I want to try my best to make sure that I have good answers when it comes to my questioning. So inshallah, I hope that this has benefited you. I hope that you get the same wake-up call that I did. And I hope that you can now start to see things from a different perspective, from a different light. So I hope that this has benefited you, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.